talked about Brock Purdy for 36 minutes. People were chanting his name at Levi Stadium. He's the greatest quarterback in franchise history. He's the next Joe Montana. If he wins the Super Bowl, or whatever, if he keeps this going, maybe wins a playoff game, plays well in a playoff game, things are going to get interesting this offseason. People are already starting to look ahead, and they're saying, well, if he does X, Y, Z, the Niners should trade Trey Lance. Get what you can for him. Commit to Brock Purdy. Because if Brock's a starter, then Trey's never going to get on the field, and what's the point of having him at this point? To me, that's just really stupid. What do you think, Dad?
I think in the pantheon of stupid ideas, that takes the cake. That's the number one stupid idea. May I give some reasons? And usually I'm much kinder than this, but may I give some reasons why that idea is stupido?
Please.
Okay. First of all, we don't know that Brock Purdy is better than Trey Lance. We don't know that. No. We haven't really seen a lot of Trey Lance. And Kyle Shanahan, for all his genius, really has screwed that one up. Last season and this season. So Trey Lance has not had a shot.
Nope.
In addition, Brock Purdy has been great for almost 2 games. Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee that he's going to be great in the future. The league might catch up with him. He may be on some super adrenaline high. Who knows?
He might get hurt.
So what I would like to think is no matter how well, unless he wins the Super Bowl, of course, but otherwise, let's say if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, I'd like to see the full-on competition next season.
Yeah.
And if Brock Purdy wins out, great. But he might get hurt. And he's older than Trey Lance. Trey Lance being on the bench and coming in for selected plays, like they do selected plays, with those cockamamie New Orleans Saints with those 2 quarterbacks. The point is, Kyle needs to begin to nurture this guy. They gave up a lot of draft picks for him. And to get rid of him, i.e., it's a dead loss, and to give up all those picks, I think would actually be almost criminal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's more reasons. Let's say Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl and the Niners are like, man, that's our franchise quarterback. We don't need Trey Lance anymore. Let's trade him. What are you getting for Trey Lance? He didn't play in 2020, his last year in college because of the pandemic. He only played 1 year of college. He missed his last year. He didn't play his first year in the NFL. He didn't play his second year in the NFL. He's had 4 starts, and he's been injured. Hasn't played in 3 years. I don't think he's worth a first round. I don't think he's worth 1 first-round pick in a trade, because any team that would be willing to trade a first-round pick for Trey Lance, and there's quarterbacks in the draft this year you could take with the first-round pick who have played in the last 3 years, who aren't hurt. So it seems to me that he's not worth a first-round pick. You'd be selling really low. It's like you bought a new Ferrari and sold it with 10,000 miles for like $10,000. Don't do that. It's really a bad idea. I agree. You need a backup quarterback, even if Brock Purdy is the guy. Hold on to Trey Lance. All your quarterbacks get hurt anyway. You go through 3 or 4 of them a year. Keep Trey Lance.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy's hurt already.
Right now. He got hurt on his second drive as a starter. Diving.
Yeah.
And he's going to keep doing that, Dad. He's a gritty gamer who runs around. I mean, and he's not big.
So I would say absolutely keep Trey Lance. And I hope that this Greasy, who I know nothing about, and apparently he's doing a very good job with Brock Purdy. I guess I'm not there. But I hope that he can give the same attention to Trey Lance, although he's a different kind of quarterback than Greasy was. But I would like to think that he can bring that young man along the way he's apparently brought Brock Purdy along.
Agree. And I would like to think that the locker room will remain open-minded, because it seems to me that the locker room kind of chooses the quarterback on this team. Like, here's what I'm saying. The Niners went with Jimmy Garoppolo after Trey Lance went down because the locker room wanted it. I mean, they were so excited for Jimmy Garoppolo to come back, and they were playing hard for him. But when Jimmy Garoppolo goes down, look at how Kyle Shanahan calls plays differently. All of a sudden, he's calling double moves for Brandon Ayuk and getting the ball down the field. just from his play calls, he's telling you that he thought Brock was better than Jimmy, but he didn't go with his gut because he let the team essentially make the call. If they're going to make the call on this again, like, hey, we like Brock, we went to the playoffs with him. Again, Trey's never going to have a chance on this team. That's really sucks.
I would like to mildly disagree.
Okay.
On your last point.
Okay.
First of all, I do agree that the veterans have a big say in who the quarterback is. So I'm not disagreeing. I'm trying to refine the point.
Refine, baby.
Okay. I think Kyle, like most coaches, probably was leery of going to the rookie right away.
Right. Because it would look like you're waving the white flag, right?
Yeah, and
Yes.
you had Jimmy, who was an established starter. So I think not only Kyle, but a lot of coaches would have gone to Jimmy. But the other point about the veterans having too much say, I do agree with. Yeah. And I think they shouldn't.
Right.
I think there are some coaches that they wouldn't have had that kind of say with. And it's a troubling thing.
Yeah, and it's because I don't think Kyle is a natural leader. He's good at lots of things, and we're going to list him. But I don't think he's a natural leader, and that's why you see people like D'Amico or Robert Saleh picking up the slack, or players. He really empowers others around him to lead, which is great. But I don't think he does much of it himself, and that's why he has a very strong-willed locker room.
Fair enough.